Airway.
And the kitchen door. Okay.
Yeah, here we are.
That's
Another. It looks good. We have a new view. You can see the bar behind us for some daytime drinking if you want.
Right.
And we're here to do what, Susie?
To talk about the full moon in Virgo. Yay! Yay!
Welcome everyone to another episode of Astrologic and full moon in Virgo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So we are going to dive in, and we're also going to do some oracle card readings for this full moon. So stay tuned, ask your questions, anything that you want to know about what to expect in the next few weeks. We're here to answer those questions. So here we go. Full moon in Virgo.
Right, Virgo, an earth sign. It's very much about who we are and how we view physical health and details, and how we teach and how we lead in our own life and how we lead in others' lives, right? And the importance of health and wellness and connection and information. So Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury, which is communications.
Oh my gosh.
So, right. So it's about how we communicate, more about within ourselves physically, our health, and how we function, how we focus on our health and our status as a healthful human being, and how we connect that way as well. Right. So we like to be more detailed. You're going to find perhaps right now that you are more focused on those tasks that apply to you, your health, and how you are navigating life from that perspective, but from a very pragmatic, detailed point. Right?
Okay.
As opposed to, oh, I just feel like working out, or I feel like taking care of myself. You really are focused on doing that. And it's a really good time to be doing that.
So would that mean then you would be more apt to make plans? Like specific plans, like instead of, oh, I feel like working out, it's more like, okay, I'm going to hit the gym 3 times a week or something like that. Or is it,
it's your overall health, right? It's
Okay.
overall. So you're going to be focusing on, maybe it's a really good time to get your checkups and to make sure your physical and emotional self are lined up right now, right? So you want to maybe start those changes, those healthful habits. It's a really good time because it's a very focused time to do so, right? Yeah. But definitely getting your health house in order is a really good time for that.
Getting your health house in order. Okay, so what I heard, communication, organization, health.
Right. And we're super critical. So it's not a negative critical, but a Virgo is a very discerning, critical, doesn't miss a thing sign. Like a Virgo will be very detail oriented.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, and I can look at something and go, that's not balanced. Or I will find, as a nurse, it was a really great thing, right? Yeah. I could see things that were wrong and they just jumped out at me. But you can be hypercritical if you're not careful, right? In your communications with people and with what you are doing with others. I mean, really, yourself, you can be hypercritical, but as well as your relationships. And so you want to be careful in what you're doing, right? That's wrong. No, that just, wait, no, maybe I should say it a different way, right? Instead of going, that's just off,
Yeah.
And it's those kinds of things, because at the end of the day, Virgos are an amazing teacher. They're one of the teachers of the chart, and they are very in tuned.
Yeah.
And they're not going to miss a lot. Right.
Yeah.
But, you have to modify that with a sense of when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it and how you're going to say it. Because the sun is in Pisces right now.
Okay.
Right. It's opposite. So it's in Pisces, and Pisces is very intuitive and some would say flighty, right? Dreaming, creative, inspirational, water sign, very emotional.
And Virgo is earth.
Okay.
So you've got earth more grounded and
right. And you've got that Pisces water, right? So the sun is in that. And so you've got this challenge, but it's actually really good together.
Okay.
Right? Because you can think outside the box and be really creative when you are starting new habits, when you are creating new habits, and when you are putting your house in order, your health house in order.
Yeah.
You can take you can harness that right brain, left brain. right?
Yeah.
It's right brain, left brain, Virgo, right brain, Pisces.
Oh, that is interesting. That is so interesting. So for those who are joining us right now, I'm speaking with, I'm Ellie Shoja, and I'm speaking with Susie Roberts. Susie, you are a life coach, and you use astrology as a tool to kind of like guide people into working cohesively with whatever's happening in their chart, in their based on the moons and the stars and whatever.
Right.
How would you describe it?
Right.
Not like I just did. I just butchered what you do.
No, because I'm not an astrologer.
Yeah.
I don't profess to be that. I have spent a lot of years studying astrology.
Uh-huh.
A lot of it related to medical, right?
Mhm.
Medical things and how
And you were a nurse. You have a
yeah,
nursing background.
I have a nursing background, and I have a degree in coaching and healthy
Yes.
lifestyle coaching. But I've taken right brain, right side, left side, and put them together. So I utilize astrology because it does affect us. Years ago, full moon, right? I'd work in the hospital and be like, God, everybody's just sort of like, right, what's going on in the hospital? Everybody would go, oh, it's a full moon, right? And you go, oh, that explains it.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the gravitational pull has shifted and we respond differently.
Mhm.
Physiologically, emotionally, psychologically, we respond differently.
Yeah.
So they matter. It's not hooey. People go, oh, it's astrology. It does affect us. Look,
Right.
The Farmer's Almanac, you plant during moon cycle, right? The cycles,
Yeah.
all connects. I just connect them and use them. I don't, it's not exclusively one way or another. You use all the tools that are available and which works. And when they start, when you have a result that keeps repeating,
Right.
then it's just more evidence. Okay, well, I did this time it happened, this time it happened. Okay, now I'm seeing a pattern. Yeah, here's a pattern with this, right?
There you go.
It's all research, right? And so I use it all to help people fire on all cylinders and to be, navigating this life's journey. Why not utilize everything that you have?
Why not utilize all of the tools that we have? So now we're full moon in Virgo that we are entering. What was the full moon that we're coming from?
Well, that was sorry, that was Leo.
That was
the
Leo.
last one, right? That was
Very
Leo.
fire.
Oh, very fire.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And now we're in a nice earthy, calm. So the last full moon, right? You set your intention in their new moon. So you set the intention, what is coming next, right? You set that up. The culmination of your intention and what you have hoped to achieve is at the full moon. That is the culmination of that cycle.
Right.
Then we start again. Right. So right now we look at everything we navigated in the last few weeks and where we are at with those intentions and those situations. It was fiery. There was a lot of stuff being brought up and out.
And you had a lot of fire in your personal life too.
Yeah. Yes.
We're not going to go there, but
no. But but
it's funny. We were trying to coordinate this meeting and you're like, I'm feeling the full moon.
Oh yeah, definitely feeling the full moon. But this last few weeks, I've had some as one door closes, right? A major one, another one. People walk back in your life, things happen, and that's a gift. But the challenges are understanding what's happening and when, and knowing that some of it is completely just happening, and what are you going to do with it? How are you going to harness it? You can either fight it or you can go with it and make it work for you.
Yeah.
And that's what I've chosen to do. And that's what I help people choose to do. If it's out of your control, don't fight it. Just but take what you can in your control. Right. So now, I'm taking this. All right. So all of that work was, done. That fire, that disruptive sort of personality, personal, safe, what we're doing. It was very much habits and hobbies and, outwardly how we are dealing with people, that Leo, the lion, right?
Yeah. It's like how we're being perceived almost too.
Right. And very much out there and in front. And then
you can go.
And then suddenly it's just all, it's all now shifted to a very calm. What am I going to do with all of that? Virgo is I have all this information.
Yeah.
A Virgo does things very carefully. It's earth. It's very slow. Right. And so you just take things step by step by step.
Yeah.
But you always move forward. Always. Yeah. Right.
So you mentioned at the beginning that this is like a really good time to get your health house in order, right? And to develop or put into place maybe health habits, right? And do all of those checkups that we maybe haven't been doing. And so what else should we be kind of like prioritizing during this time?
Well, I think we should look at anything that is detail. So, your financial health, house, the health of your financial.
Oh, and we're going into
right?
taxes.
Yeah, we're going into tax season, right?
There you go.
Right. And just your home, your environment, anything that requires is a perfect time. Anything that requires some detail and some focus is perfect for Virgo.
Okay.
So it's perfect for the Virgo moon, right? And because we have Pisces, we have the sun in Pisces, we have the ability to harness that and find creative solutions or ways of doing new ways of doing things. It's right. It's a really good time to kind of think outside the box. You don't have to be as rigid. The Virgo is very methodical and and sort of, very concentrated, but you deliberate, but you bring this in and together you can just come up with all sorts of things. Right.
So does that mean if you have, let's say, a business and you've been kind of riding the up and down waves of it, right? Is this a good time to kind of creative problem solve within your business and find solutions that you haven't been able to find to ongoing problems? Or
well, we also just got out of Mercury in retrograde.
Okay.
Right. So Mercury, was, very much, planning and developing and redoing and crossing your T's and dotting your I's and getting ready to hit the ground running. So now that we're out and we're really pretty much out of that shadow period, now is the time where your communications will be clearly heard. Right. So this is when you want to start doing things. Right. Now is the time to take everything you were doing, finalize it. With Virgo, you're going to find all those details. You're going to make sure that you didn't miss anything. Now's the time to do that. Right. Yeah. It's the perfect time to do that.
And those, as you're talking, I just realized that about 3 weeks ago, I started a very difficult communication, and it just misunderstandings and all sorts of stuff. I should have waited until now.
Right.
If I had consulted with you, I would have just held off until Mercury's out of retrograde and we are in an earth sign, and we can of communication
and stability
and stable. Oh my gosh.
Earth,
and then
stable.
Yeah. And then started that conversation now. So is this a good time to do that for people? If there's somebody that you need to clear the air with, or there's a difficult conversation you've been kind of like putting off, is this kind of the time to do it then?
Well, we're looking, so the moon, which rules our emotions, is only in a sign for about 2.5 days.
Okay.
Right, in an astrological sign. So it's going to shift. And when it goes from Virgo, it'll go into Libra. So Libra is another one of those very balanced signs.
Okay.
It's an air sign, but it's very balanced.
Okay.
So the next couple cycles will be pretty clear signs that you can communicate with, right? That you can do things with. When we get into Scorpio, things get a little personal, but and be a little more sharp, right? Scorpion.
I have to go back and see where I sent those emails.
Right. So, but you can clean it, but it's really good sign. Now, the sun being in Pisces, that very addictive, can be good, can be bad, right? Very intuitive, dreaming, super creative, very much open to trying things, but also everything is just so emotional. So you'll find Pisces, they sometimes seem like they're just up in the ethers, right? And they take things super personally, right? And they just take things to the heart because they just want to help people. And they want nothing more than just to embrace people and help them on their journeys, right? And so when we have that now, right? When we're all in this in Pisces, it is a time we just have to make sure that we are heard, that their clarity is still a part of this, which is why these earth some of these earth signs help us when we're in Pisces. We want to be clear with what we are saying and doing, but we can do them in ways that we never really thought of. Things may just pop in and you may go, oh, well, that's why, so it is actually a really good time, right? Pisces is a very, loose, sort of flowing, evasive, but not in a negative way, sign. I have two I'm two of my kids are Pisces. So, and I have my rising is Pisces.
Yeah.
So I'm the, nurturer, want to help, will do anything, think outside the box to do it. Wonder why nursing, and in Aquarius, which is also human, right? All of that combined. So this is going to be an interesting time for me, for sure. But, you harness those, those aspects that are positive, that are strong, and you just run with them, and that's half the battle. If right. That's what's so key. And where we are now with the pandemic, things are, we have our third vaccine out, whether whether you believe in vaccination, whether, I'm I've been around a very long time. That sounds, I've been in nursing.
You're actually 95 years old.
I'm 95 years old. Yeah. I started nursing.
You look great.
Well, thank you. Hey, because I did stuff during Virgo.
Yeah.
When I started nursing, AIDS was just coming out.
Yeah.
Right. And I have been, in nursing or related to nursing from every, thing since. I do believe in vaccines. I know when we didn't have vaccines, what happened.
Yeah.
That said, look, we finally went through that time where everything was just, nothing was going anywhere. Everybody's dying. Just such a horrible time. And we have a light at the end of the tunnel now, right? We either way, herd immunity from vaccines, from people who have had the disease, from people who are just naturally immune to it.
Right.
We are building that up, but we all have to do it together, whichever way it is, right? But now is a time where we sort of have hope. We do have hope, right?
Yes.
So what are we going to do now, so that when we get back to really being open, that we can start those things that we hadn't been able to do, that we've been spending this time. Now is the time to maybe do a career shift, just in general, something I wanted to do. I did. So it's like, it's a good time to shift, right?
Yeah. Because
you have the comfort of, because we have this situation that we're in, we can do things that that we hadn't done and we thought we never could. Look, this pandemic, if anything, showed us, right, that we are all in this together, and that we can change and we can pivot. Everybody's pivoted.
Yeah.
So we can do that in, what we're doing and how we're navigating everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's so interesting. You bring up that pivoting, because I know we've pivoted, and personally I have pivoted, and professionally, and I feel like the people in my life who were willing to kind of embrace that and say, okay, I can't do the things I used to do, and let me see what I can do, have opened up doors that they didn't even realize were there before for them. They've found opportunities in their lives that didn't exist. And it came out of that mindset shift of, okay, not every door is going to be closed to me. There are going to be doors that are open, and let me just look for possibilities, for opportunities, and then you find them.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. What are some of the things to look out for with this full moon? Just kind of like, be careful, warnings, things to kind of like be aware of, so that pitfalls not to fall into. Well,
I think, like I said, fortunately, the moon cycle, the moon will be full, and then from the moment it's full, then it starts waning, right? So from the moment that it's full, and it's going to be full for a while, a little bit, a couple days, right? But it will go into the next sign. But when we have a full moon, we are heightened, right? We are more sensitive, we are more emotional. We are just sort of, our body fluids are shifting, and so we tend to, with the Pisces, I'd say we could be a little bit more risk taking. So we kind of want to avoid that right now. Right.
Yeah.
And that moderation from the Virgo will help us. So in the next 24, 48 hours, when these two are together with a full moon, I'd say, like, be careful, with what you're doing, like, don't go to the extremes of anything, right? If I'm looking at it that way. And in fact, in general with Pisces, I would tend to, when we're in the sign of Pisces, it's a wonderfully creative time.
Yeah.
But be cautious.
Yeah.
At the same time.
And especially paired with the communication and the groundedness of the Virgo, I would imagine, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I would imagine that we would feel maybe a little bit more daring to step outside and say those things we haven't been able to or willing to say in the past, and just kind of remove some of those filters. But what I am hearing is, as you do that, be careful, because we are still in Pisces, and that is very emotional, and it could be coming from a place of not groundedness.
Right. And I would think also in terms of the physical risks, you would probably want in the next few days not to take physical risks that you don't
go to
raves.
Take.
Yeah. Don't go to raves. Don't go, I'm going to go cliff diving today.
Oh, yes.
I just think, I think I would be careful. I would say that, one of the areas that Pisces rules is addiction, and it rules the pharmaceutical industry and alcohol, and right. And so all of those things that take us away, escaping, right? It's either escaping through drugs, alcohol means, or just in our heads, right? Getting people shutting down. Pisces can do, and not that we all can't do that, but it tends to be, sort of more of a risk is not the right term, but it can be just sort of an emotional shutdown. And some people just shut down and they're quiet, and other people shut down by other means, right? So it's those kinds of things that if we're aware of, and with Virgo, there's more of a moderation potential there, which is really helpful. Right. But like you said, with having those conversations that maybe you wouldn't normally, we just got out of Mercury in retrograde, and we've got a lot of Aquarius still, in Saturn, and Jupiter. So I would say that, it's a really good time to have those conversations and those things that you want to do that are within the mass, which are in the collective, which are, groups, right? Because it is all that Aquarian thing. And just with that, you may have conversations that you never thought you'd have, but they're really going to be good. They could be really good because you're thinking in a different way. Yeah. Right. And so I think it's really sort of a good time for all that. I feel,
Yeah. And does it help to ground the emotions of the Pisces with some kind of a ritual or practice before you go into those situations? Maybe grounding the emotions of it. Do you have any recommendations for that, or is that not really necessary?
I think in general, right? When we have conversations, when we're going into something, not astral, when we have conversations that we need to go in clear, unbiased, right? And without any preconceived ideas of how it's going to come out. I know that when I go talk to her and I say this, she is going to respond as such, right? Right. I know she's gonna be mad when I say
We've already had that conversation in our heads. And then you show up from that place of, there's no place to go then. You're like a wall.
Exactly.
Essentially.
Exactly. So in general, when we have conversations with people, to stop before you go in clear, right? Take 4 or 5, 6, deep breaths, go in calm. Go in with the mindset that your conversation is going to have the outcome that you desire.
Yes.
Right. That's really important. It's mindset. If I throw a basketball and I go, I know I'm going to miss it, you're probably going to miss it. Right.
Yeah.
But if I go and go, I'm going to make that basket. And if I don't make that basket, but I was a lot closer than I would have been. Right. Right. But it's all mind. Mind is powerful. Yeah. So going into a conversation with somebody or a situation that you've never been in before. Yeah. With either a preconceived outcome or I know this is going to suck, kind of thing. Right. But if you go in, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened, and I'm just going to go with it. Yeah. And I'm going to go in and do my best. Right. Breathing and pausing. Yeah. And listening.
So we talked about the communication aspect of Virgo, and listening, I feel like, is such a big part of communication in general. And so can you speak to that a little bit? You said listening, and all of a sudden I'm like, yes, because most of the time we go into conversations, and as somebody else is talking, we are thinking about what we're going to say. So we don't even hear what they are, the rest of what they're saying, because we're just so consumed with our own, ideas, and I feel like effective communication relies so much on the ability and the willingness to actually listen to what the person is sharing with us. Is there a connection between our ability to listen and the astrology that's happening right now?
Well, with right now, actually, I think we're in a really good place to listen, right? Because when we're in these earth signs, we tend to be more grounded, quieter, right? We're paying more attention.
Yeah.
We're not out going, in some of the air signs where I'm just kind of thinking about whatever,
Right.
but we're really listening. And I think that's important, active listening, asking open-ended questions.
Right.
Right. So if I ask you a question, how are was today a good day or a bad day? And you go, bad day. Okay. Or is it yes or no questions are not going to engender a conversation. Right.
Right.
But if I ask you a question, I have to listen.
Right.
Right. I need to listen to your response. And
like, how did you solve that problem? Or what was the biggest challenge in it? Or how did you find the pieces? Or, these types of kind of like the open-ended questions. You're right. They do kind of inspire dialogue at a deeper level.
Correct. Yes or no questions are, that's for something perfunctory. If you need an answer to something, but do you want to cook?
Can I borrow your car?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. No, yes, sure.
Yeah.
but asking somebody, what they think about X.
Yeah.
But then listening for the answer.
Right.
And we do have a tendency when we get into a conversation, especially when we're in when the planets, and it also depends a lot on our own charts.
Ooh,
okay.
Yes.
So where your Mercury, your listening, your communicating, sign is, your planet may be in a sign that you just paying attention is just going to be a challenge for you. Right.
You're right.
So we've got to, with hoping that the transits, so every day the planets are moving, right? Some really slow, some super fast, right? The moon is the fastest, right? So as it's moving, they transit us, but they shift, right? So things change. So you may have days of where it's like, I'm so emotional or things are so, and then boom, they're shifted out, right? So how it interacts with your chart is how you also be more affected. I might be more affected than you, right? But understanding that is it's so empowering. Right. Because because knowledge is power. The unknown scares people. Right. Right. And I know for me, I need to know, but the unknown really makes people uncomfortable. Yeah. And so they shut down, they freeze, they lash out. It can be any way. So when we are in a moon emotion with a very sort of calmer moon, this is a time where those heightened emotions they're not going to be so heightened. So it's a really good time. Yeah.
And speaking of, how our own charts interact with the time that we're in, is there a particular sign who is going to have a particularly difficult time during this full moon?
Well, in the next couple of days, it depends on where your chart is. Where your moon is yourself. Okay. So depending on, we have aspects. Each planet aspects another, and some aspects are really wonderful. Everything goes smoothly, and some aspects can be a challenge. Right. So depending on how they are interacting can determine whether you're going to be way more emotional or much less. If your moon is in Virgo, you will probably feel it more than I would. Because my moon is in Scorpio. I'm not going to feel it as much. I feel when the moon's in Scorpio, and no matter whether it's a full moon or not, I feel it. Yeah. I'm like, oh, Scorpio. Okay, got it. Ooh, and I can either take it.
The moon must be in Scorpio.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm having it. Oh, okay. That's why. Right. Those kinds of things. Right. So if and the same thing with, we're in Pisces now. So it's probably because my rising, my first house, who I am, how I navigate, the physical, the who you are and how you jump into things. That for me is Pisces. So I'm going to have more of those sort of, could potentially be, quiet me down, or could make me have some incredible ideas or super connections, right? Intuitively. Yeah. Right. It could bring in some of that more for me because that's my rising, so it's those kinds of things. And my Venus is there too. So, love and money, Pisces, thinking outside the box, unusual, create, so those can affect us differently. Yeah. But in terms of this moon, Virgo moon, and then Libra. So Virgos will be affected more. and Pisces is the opposite. So you may have those, if you have a Pisces moon to your Virgo moon, to a Virgo full moon, yeah, you could be feeling it.
Yeah.
Right. And that push me, pull you, that sort of opposites. Right.
Right.
I just want to, no, calm down. Right. That kind of thing. So, but it can explain a lot. And, the moon is so critical because it does rule our emotions.
Right.
Right. And we all respond emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Right. People say, I don't respond emotionally. We all have emotions. It's whether we embody them or let them just kind of go.
Unless you're dead inside.
Well, yeah. I've met a few. Yeah. Although it still affects them, just does. Look, we're 65% water minimum, right? The moon is at high tides, shifts us and shifts how we feel.
Yeah. I mean, when you said that for the first time, it just kind of blew my mind that, the moon affects the waters, all the waters on the planet. And we are water. Yeah. We're mostly water. So of course it's going to affect us in a very physical and visceral way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Just the science of it.
Right. Right. There's just no getting around it. I mean, it is, it is what it is. There's anecdotal evidence and there is proof. Tides in the moon, it just shifts the astrological and astronomical effects of the moon to the planet. They all affect us. It all affects us. They're not there. They're pretty. They're nice to look at, but they do affect us. Right. And I think it's fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. And when I was actively in early days of nursing, had I really, if I ever understood this, I'd be like, oh, full moon, here we go again, but now I know the why, but then I know the other effects.
Right.
So I know if I'm feeling more fluid,
right.
If my ring, if I'm not feeling good, if I'm headachy, if I'm not, some people where if there's a full moon in a sign that rules your head, you may have more headaches.
Ooh,
so Aries, Aries, Taurus up here,
right.
So you may have more of those symptoms, right? Yeah. So right now it's more of this part of the body here. So we're not so much, we're not, Virgo does not rule the top part of the body. So we're but it's overruling all of our health. And so the moon that's just a perfect time, especially a full moon, to just initiate, we finished and now we're going to start. So as we close out, we're about to initiate, right? And so why not now when we've got all of this energy here to start figuring out what we're going to do now. We're closing out on the health, focus on it as you move forward. So when you set your intentions in the new moon, right. You will have had those set up. To go.
Yeah. So let's talk about the rituals of what people can do during the full moon to take advantage of all of this energy that is present. So you have a ritual that you like to do with the writing down and the burning. You want to share that?
Yeah. And, and I think this is an anytime thing.
Yeah.
Truly, I think it's more powerful during a full moon, but so whatever your issue, there's an issue, there's a concern, there's something that is just nagging on you. There's something you want to let go. Things I'm done. I'm over this. Write it out. And I mean pencil, pen, whatever to paper.
Yeah.
Right. Not the computer. There's something about this to the arm to the paper. Yeah. Right. It's already getting out of your system. Right. Yeah. You're transmuting it as you're writing it. Right. You are getting it out, whatever it is. You roll up the paper. Or fan folded, it doesn't matter. And you
origami flower.
However you want to do it, because what you're going to do is burn it, right?
Right.
But you're not going to burn it in the house unless you do it in the fireplace, right? Which is fine, or over a stove.
Don't burn your house down.
No, I am saying do
not burn your house down.
No. Do it outside, protected. Make sure there's nothing that can catch. Right. Use a big ashtray or an ashtray. Remember those? Use something that's fireproof. A grill, or a fireplace, or your vent, your vent on your stove, just so you're doing something where it'll just go up. But you take it and you burn it, you light it, you take it outside. I like to use sage with it too, because it kind of cleans everything out too. And I release it to the universe, right? And I say, universe, I'm done with this lesson. I'm over this. Right. I need your help with this. I'm releasing this to you to transmute, and I am, and I'm sending it off with love and gratitude and peace. I don't, and then you send it off. You don't send it off with, oh, good riddance to that. I mean, you can, mind is powerful.
I'm done with that.
Right? You can write it like everything that's annoying that, everything that's gone on. There's a
Yeah.
situation that needs to be released, let go for you to move on. There is something that you've been perseverating over, thinking about that you just can't, write it out. I mean, just write it out on paper. You may find that solution. Right.
Interesting.
And, I find that if you're thinking about a problem or some situation, you're just like, I just write it out.
Yeah.
And then write the pros and the cons. And you'll see your list come out. Right. But you can also take that and then go, all right, solve the problem, but then release it and let it go.
Yeah.
But then it's done.
Yeah.
Right. It has to be
You
done.
don't have to carry it with you anymore.
Exactly.
Once it's gone.
Exactly. Because as you have said, right, you can either take this sadness, this guilt, right? You can either take the guilt or you can say, no, I'm not going to take it.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
just
mine.
going to put it down.
Right. It's not mine. That was a lesson that you taught me. It's right. It's not mine.
Yeah.
It's not mine. I'm not going to take this. This is not mine. People say, I feel for you, right? I get it. My so-and-so did the same thing. This happened to so-and-so. And I just felt that so much for you, but it's not yours.
Right.
I mean, as much as we want to empathize and support people in our lives or our friends, when we say that, it's like, and you can viscerally feel it sometimes. Oh my God, I can just feel it, but it's not yours.
Yeah. We can't get angry enough for somebody to heal. We can't get sick enough for somebody to heal. That's not how healing takes place.
No. And it's not our journey, even if it's our children or our best friend or our spouse, you can't take on their journey.
Right.
You can support them, but you can't take on their journey. Yeah. It's not yours.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And then on the new moon, you alluded to this, when there's a new moon that's in 2 weeks from now, what do? We write down intentions.
Yeah. Set an intention. It's like when we meditate, and we do a release, we meditate and we set an intention for that. So you set an intention for that cycle. Yeah. So we can
for those 2 weeks. And then the full moon, it becomes to fruition again. And then we do another one of these and we talk about what to look out for and what to look forward to.
Right.
Essentially.
Right. And so it's, it's nice anytime we do something to set that intention, right? Whether you're sitting at the computer and you have, your work to do, you don't need to, if you're sitting, guilty, before I know it, it's 4 hours in front of the computer.
I know.
Really, Brendan Richard, who I'm a big fan of, it's really 45 minutes, or so. Get up and move.
Right.
Get up, but set that intention for what you're going to do when you're sitting at whatever you're doing. What is that task? What is your intention that you are going to get done?
It's like I'm sitting down for these 45 minutes. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then I'm going to get up.
Yeah. And you're going to move and you're going to breathe and you're going to shake.
Yeah.
And you're going to just going to get that energy off and get focused again. Your brain, you need to move.
Right.
Right. I stand up when I work a lot of times, but you need to move and you need to step out of the situation, right? Step out, take a breather, 5 minutes, whatever it is, and then go back, right? 5-10 minutes, you're actually going to be more productive than if you just sat there plowing through, which I have done.
I've actually noticed that when I do that, it helps tremendously. When I sit down and I actually set a timer for 45 minutes or 90 minutes, whatever that time period is going to be for me to sit and focus on this. And then the timer goes off, I get up, but I know that timer is going to go off and I put that phone away and I don't look at it for the duration of that. I get so much done. I get so much done.
And that is sort of a Virgo thing. I mean, it's a very, you are setting boundaries and you're setting, you're defining a time. And
very earth.
It's very earth. Capricorns would do the same thing. It's very good for all of us to do, right? It's very methodical. It's very good for all of us to do. And that's why it works for you. And people who really get lost in what they're doing, it's really powerful because it's not healthy.
Right.
Physically, it is not healthy to sit and not move. Right. Sedentary lifestyle is the number one risk factor for so many diseases. Right. So even while we're working, I'm sitting for 5 hours, but I was working.
Right.
It wasn't that you're chowing down on things in front of the television, but you are sitting down there and not moving.
Right.
And so that's super important. And we're talking about Virgo and health. And so it all ties into this conversation.
All of that ties into this full moon is basically examining our work habits, our health habits, our checkups that we have maybe neglected, maybe they're due, our bank accounts, our finances, just getting that house in order and getting our health in order and getting just our habits in order and more alignment and harmony with health.
Right. And like I said, Virgos are really good leaders and they're very good teachers, right? Because of those details and because they have that critical eye, they don't miss anything. And because they're very good at tasks, right? Very good at tasks. And now is, and so it is such an opportune time to focus on this, right now. I think it's a fascinating time.
Wonderful. Should we do a reading?
Oh, yes.
All right. So we're going to do a reading from our Oracle card deck, Your Heart Knows the Way. And if you've been following us, you know that I wrote the text for these cards, and they were illustrated by an incredible artist named Chris DeLorco. And I'll show you some of these cards. You can see how just absolutely breathtaking they are. Some of them are upside down. you can see they're just these goddesses and angels, and all of the messages on these cards are very heart-centric. The deck was inspired by the Rumi quote that says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but to seek and remove all the conditions, or all the barriers against it that you have built." And so there are 52 cards in this deck. And every card speaks to something that we are doing to keep that free flow of love that is our birthright away from us. So it's keeping our hearts kind of guarded and blocked. So the card will identify what that is and then help us remove that condition or remove that block, the barrier. So let's do a reading for this. And then there's a bunch of other ones. Here we go.
So you have 52 cards. So theoretically, one a week, right? You could set an intention that, or set a habit, right? A health habit. Once a week, you're going to pull a card.
Right.
And just see what it may be. And, and I mean, that's your year. I mean, that's a nice, and it's just sort of a guide for you for what is this week going to hold for me, or what can I, what should I know, or what do I need?
Absolutely.
Right. I think that's wonderful.
And Susie, I'll let you do the honors here. I'll fan these cards out and let's set an intention of whatever. If you're watching this message is for you. And this is a card for this period of time. But here's the interesting thing. If you find this video way into the future and, we're no longer in this full moon, but you're seeing this card being pulled, you found this video in order to hear this card. So pay attention. Ooh, here we go.
We share one heart.
We share one heart. And let's show that card. There we go. Oh, that is a really beautiful card. Card number 46. We share one heart. And that is a interesting card. I'll read it and then.
It's 46. So it's a 1. So it's leadership.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
Here we go. I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts once we read this card, Susie. We live billions of separate lives, but we share one heart. Do you feel the world around you begin to awaken? Are you anticipating the evolution of humankind? There's a quickening that you feel deep within your soul. An inward expansion, a soaring sensation, and an awakening of powers too profound for words. You feel this shift because you are an usher of a new era. You've answered the call, and now you await your assignment. This card reminds you that your only task is to connect to your heart, for your heart is the gateway through which you connect to all. You are not a drop in a sea of billions. You are the entirety of all. distilled into a drop. Open your heart today and do this every day. Remove all barriers you've built around your heart. Your task is to allow the free flow of love through your own heart alone. For when you achieve this, the clarity of your love bursts open the hearts of those around you. This is how we become that which we are meant to be. This is how you usher in a new era of peace. Wow. You know, as I was reading it, I was thinking about the full moon in Virgo, getting our house, our health houses in order, our, dotting our I's and crossing our T's. And this card is about doing that on a grand scale.
Like I mentioned, excuse me, we are all in this together, right?
Absolutely.
We are individuals, but we are a collective, and together we can achieve anything, and we do things. Excuse me.
The card was too intense.
Can tend to get a little dehydrated for me during this, a little earthy. Very much what we were talking about, right? It's like with this whole pandemic, all of us are affected, right? So together as one, we can move forward past it, through it, right? And thrive. There is no reason why we can't. And we are all one heart. Our hearts all look the same. I mean, they may have some, physiologically hearts, we're all the same. Right. There is, and so that is the common, that is another common thing that we have, but it's all heart centric. We all are heart centric, whether we admit it or not. Right. We navigate our life through how we are feeling and our emotions and how they affect us. Right. Love and hate. They're those emotions. Right. I think that's the perfect heart.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel good. All right. So this was such an incredible episode of Astrologic. I'm so happy that we are back doing this. I missed the last one because I was in Nashville, but I'm back. I'm so grateful, Susie, that you're willing to come and share your knowledge on this, on these topics, and provide clarity and guidance. And I know that our audience really appreciates it.
Well, I love doing it. I love helping people. I always have. It's my journey, right? I love it. And this is wonderful. It's another way to connect, right?
Absolutely.
I love that.
And we keep talking about doing this for the new moon as well. So maybe we'll get that off the ground. But for now, it is the full moon. We'll definitely see you for the next full moon, and maybe even for the next new moon. We'll see. I don't know. Well, we keep talking about it. At some point, it has to manifest.
Exactly. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes. We love you so much. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Astrologic. We hope you enjoyed it. And you can watch all the other ones from the past as well. And stay tuned. Subscribe so that you can get alerts every time we do one of these in the future.
Right.
Love you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Now, how do we end this recording? Oh, it says finished. Yeah, here we are. Another